Well, one of the reasons why pensions are so important this year is because of some of the changes the governments have already made and are proposing to make. So the first thing that happened in April of this year was they changed some of the tax laws around taking or adding to your pension. And so we're advising all people to seek independent financial advice on their current pension status, in other words, what pension they've built up and what pension they're likely to build up over the next year or two. The second thing is the contribution increase that the government says that they would like to begin introducing in April 2012. Now, at the moment, we're in a period of discussion, negotiation, and then consultation, which we think will start in July of this year. The third thing is what's called the Hutton Review, or the Hutton Recommendations. Now, this is an independent review of all public sector pensions, including the NHS, and recommendations have been made, and the government is going to consult on those, we're told, in the autumn. These include losing the final salary scheme, the introduction of a new career average scheme, and changing the normal pension age, or the time at which people can retire.
Because the coalition are looking at all public pensions, if you like, and we know that there is currently a difficult financial situation, why do you believe that your pensions should be looked at differently?
Well, one of the reasons why the NHS scheme is so different to other public sector schemes is that many of the things the government have stated that they would like to introduce, the NHS scheme has already accepted back in 2008. For example, we already have among the very highest individual or employee contributions to any public sector scheme. We've already introduced a new scheme with a retirement age of 65 as opposed to 60. We already have a cap on the taxpayer's contribution, or the employer's contribution, so the risk to the taxpayer is markedly less than it ever has been. And the key point is that over the last 5 years and in the next 5 years, the NHS scheme has been in a positive balance. In other words, in the government's own figures, the NHS scheme will be in a positive balance of 10.7 billion over the next 5 years. The scheme is balanced, safe, financially secure and stable, and is making a contribution to the Treasury. Hard then to justify why the government wants to take more from us and give us less back.
So you feel that you would be plugging a gap elsewhere?
Well, what happens is that when there is an excess of funds, that goes into the Treasury. Now, to be fair, if there's a deficit, the Treasury then has to pay the difference. But they haven't had to do that with the NHS for a decade, really, and not for the next few years. So that money could be used then to decrease the deficit in other schemes. And I think what we're saying is the scheme works, it's saving the government money, it's achieved what the government wanted to and has stated it wants to. We don't see any good reason why they should start messing about with it now.
From your perspective, what is the strength of feeling amongst members on this?
Well, I think there's a great strength of feeling amongst our members on this particular issue. One of the things that we count is the number of inquiries to the Pensions Department. That has gone up by 1,000% by this time last year in terms of telephone calls, and 450% in terms of written communications. But you only have to look at the ARM. You have to look at the number of motions, the tone of those motions, and the consistency of those motions to have a real measure. 10% of the motions this year are on pensions.
Perhaps no surprise then that Dr. Meldrum said in his speech, we will consider every legitimate action to defend doctors' pensions. How close do you feel we are to industrial action by doctors?
Well, I think you can sense the strength of doctors' feelings by the fact of many divisions and many branches of practice already beginning to discuss all of the legitimate, all the legal options that we can take. Now, people have talked about industrial action, and I think it's a little bit early for us to commit ourselves to anything right now, because at the moment, nothing has actually changed. The government has stated what it would like to do, but it actually hasn't done anything right now. What we need to do is wait to see what we're able to negotiate and agree, and then we'll know if we need to do anything more. But I don't think the government should underestimate the strength of feeling that is being expressed by doctors that are currently working in the NHS.
Andrew Dearden, thank you.
Thank you.